Hi, my name is John D, and I've been a guide in Madikwe since the beginning of '99, so it's been a good journey. A little over 20 years of working in the reserve and learning the ropes, and just getting there, still learning. Thank you. All right, so I believe that some of us might have been on a walk before, and so just to touch base a little bit, we going to be heading north along the river. So beautiful terrain, not too hard. It's an easy flat area. There'll be probably a drainage line here and then, but nothing too hectic. And most importantly, we're going to walk in a single file. Both myself and Aubrey will be up in the front. So he's our backup this morning. I'll be the lead guide for this expedition. And if you do see something, please don't hesitate to stop us. Make it click with your fingers or maybe tap on the side of your trousers. It's more of a neutral sound into the bush instead of saying, "Hey, John D." Then animals tend to hear that from literally far. Remember, sound travels very quickly at nearly 343 meters per second. So if there were animals ahead of us, they will hear and know that we're coming timelessly. And yeah, so I'm not too adventurous when I go out walking, so we're not going to try and have that leopard right here. So it's more about trying to enjoy all aspects of nature. You know, little things that you don't really get to see and enjoy when you're on the back of the vehicle. Tracks on the ground, droppings, thorns. Nevertheless, I haven't really spoken about touching, smelling, feeling, and we will also give you an opportunity to taste, if you would like. So don't say we didn't offer. All right, and though we know that this is a dangerous game area, so there could be elephants, there could be lions anywhere, but should we get into a dangerous situation of some sort, very important, do not run. Very important that we stay together as a unit. Listen to what I say. Aubrey and Greg will get you out the situation. I'll stay back and then hopefully talk my way out and rejoin with the group. But very important, please. We can talk whilst we're walking, just keep it to minimum. And is there anyone that smokes in the group? Oh, beautiful. Okay. All right, and so both rifles up in the front will be loaded. And it's a bolt action rifle, so I'm carrying a .458 caliber. And so they will be loaded with 5 rounds, which I'm going to load now. And so there won't be anything in the chamber, so I'm making sure nothing, double checking nothing. The bolt will be closed, firing pin relaxed. So if a branch touches the trigger, or if I start going cuckoo a little bit and play around with the trigger, nothing will happen. The firearm is 100% safe. Bearing in mind, though, that it is a loaded weapon. So whilst we're walking, please don't walk on our sides or in front of us. Just that we can always have that 180 degrees firing line should the need arise. And most importantly, let's have fun. All right, so if anyone is carrying a cell phone, please make sure that it's on vibration or muted. And if you've got an upcoming alarm, please also, if you can switch that off as well. That's about it. All right. So we're going to pretty much go that direction. Oh, last suggestion, if I may. About 10-15 minutes or so into the walk, the person that is walking directly behind the guides up in the front, after about 10-15 minutes, step aside, allow the entire trail to walk past you, and then join in front of Greg. And let's keep that rotation going so that everybody can have a chance of walking directly behind us and see what we're seeing up in the front. And it's good. Thank you. All right. Yeah. All right, so there's something fairly interesting on the ground over here. I think let's look at this one right here. So if you maybe make a circle that way. All right. So if you look at that, inside the circle, there's another paw print over there. There's another one right there. And if you look carefully, you'll probably see a few more along the road. So if you look, most importantly, it is definitely a paw print because there we can see the paws, and this would be the main pet of the animal. But larger predators out here, you would have the cat family, leopard, lion. Those would be the two main big cats that you will find. And then of course we've got the hyena family, which we get both brown and spotted being the two main big predators within that family. And then of course within the dog family you would have African wild dogs and a jackal. Pretty much jackal paw print would be a lot more smaller, but what we're seeing over here, if you look carefully, I don't see any claws, so no claw markings. We know that if you look at the dog family paw print, you will see the claw markings. If you look at the hyena, you will see the claw markings. Another important fact over here is if you look at the main pet, so that would be this part of the hand of the animal. Look at the 3 lobes. So you get 1, get 2, you get 3. The moment you find 3 lobes, you know it's a cat. Because the dog family will only have 2 lobes at the back of the main pet, and so does the hyena family, will also have 2 lobes at the back of the main pet. Definitely a lion, it's much bigger. And I think I saw another paw print this side, so it looks like we might have maybe had 2 animals that were moving together. We know that usually lions move at night, usually. Right, so they would have possibly maybe walked past here by sunrise, maybe a little bit more late into the morning. It's still a dry season, so it is common for the time of the year to still have lions moving around 10 if they weren't successful with the hunt in the morning, and hence along the river, of course. That's where everybody wants to be, good water, food, and so that draws attention of most of the antelopes to come looking for those conditions, and hence then the predators would want to also be there looking. And so what we're going to do now is try and follow this for a little bit. And most importantly, when we track, we use systematic tracking system, and that's a very basic, simple tracking or art of tracking, where you would be moving and saying, right, there's a paw print, the next one is right over here, there's the next one. So you're moving from one paw print to another paw print to another paw print, and it's fantastic because the chances of losing those paw prints are more than unlikely. However, this animal may have walked here 4 hours ago. So if we're moving at that pace of going like, paw print, we're not gaining time. And so if this animal is about 10 kilometers from us, we're never going to catch up with it. And so from there, then we may then throw in intuitive tracking system, where what you do is you stand from where you're seeing your footprints and you look up a little bit. So over there, I can see it looks very similar to lion paw print. So you start looking for disturbance on the ground that looks fairly similar shape, similar size, and that way we can walk a lot more quicker. So we're saving time, but most importantly, mind you, it's not just the lion that we're worried about, are we? There's leopard, there's rhino, there's buffalo, there's some elephant. So the moment we start walking with our head up a little bit, then we can see around us and know what is happening. And then from there, we would then throw in speculative tracking system, and we start speculating a little bit based on knowing the area. We're like, right, so if I'm a lion in this area, knowing the area, where would I go? Where there's more animals. Definitely, I would want to stay along the river. At some stage, I'm going to need shade. And so some of these thick bushes, that's where a cat would want to go. Good cover. You can sit and wait and hope that food comes to you instead of spending too much energy looking. And so let's try and trail this a little bit and see. We're going to be your flanks, both myself and Open.
Okay.
So we're gonna walk about a meter in front of you, okay, and flank either side of you.
Okay.
And
I'm gonna show you where to go.
Yep. You keep your eyes on that
High five.
All right.
Everybody looking up. What could possibly go wrong with this? Look, I trust them. You look at a dusty place like this.
Yeah. So on a dusty place like this, sometimes you may not see the whole footprint based on the activity that happened within the area where there are other animals that walked over, was the vehicle that drove over. You may get a partial footprint, like if you look over here.
Okay.
Elephants walked over there.
Yeah.
So this is just the main path that you're looking at. So,
Brian. Yeah. Remember, if you're tracking on point.
Yeah.
My approach would be, let's walk up over there and see whether we can still find them.
Right.
And if we can't find them, then we'll walk back.
Right.
Because otherwise, if I go and
is to have you getting us close enough that we can have a good sighting. However, still be safe. And a few things to consider, which I will give you an idea. Elephants can hear very well, exceptionally very well. Right, so it's one of the things that we need to try and be quiet. Another thing is sense of smelling, really very good. So based on those factors, if we have the sun behind us, even better, because if an animal looked, it would be looking into the sun.
Okay.
All right. So from here,
you probably smell us already.
how would you say we should be approaching them?
Yeah.
So thinking of the wind, cover, that we need to be quiet. Another important factor is where they are there. If I'm an elephant, I had to move from there, they're not by the water.
Yeah.
I would want to get to the water, so something to consider.
Probably from this side then. Oh. Right?
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So,
Well, let's see.
so at this point, we need to be very quiet. When you walk, instead of putting your foot flat, I would put my foot on the side. It's not that comfortable, and roll it down. That way we're a lot more quiet. Right. So it would have worked absolutely fantastic for us to cross over and get to the higher ground. But now the challenge that we've got is impalas, because they're going to make an alarm call and warn the elephants about an enemy being within the vicinity. So elephants might be spooked. So we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to stop behind this bush over here and then just maybe a little bit to the side to have a good view of the elephants. This way, we're still far enough that by the time that our scent gets to them, you've got water, you've got green bushes, so it would have been diluted into a whole lot of those other scents around. So long as we be quiet, everybody comfortable, most importantly. So just watch. Okay. trees, they've got a nitrogen-fixing bacteria within the roots. And what it does is it gets nitrogen gas out the ground and convert that into nitrates. Elephants are getting it. You think of animals that would get killed or die with the body decomposing, plasma leaching into the ground and blood. That's protein. Bacteria breaks it into amino acids. Everybody needs amino acids. Elephants are getting it out the ground. But here's the important thing about the elephants into ecology. They've got tools to use so they can dig with their tusks. They can kick and break the sand. They'll pick that up and start eating it. And they will leave a fair amount of it behind that they're not using. And other animals that don't have the tools to work with. They've got sand, loose sand to eat that has been provided by an elephant. So they're really very important into ecology. Those impalas anymore. So possible that they moved on, carried on in a different direction. I don't know. But what I would say we do, yes, would be to make a little bit of a bigger loop that way and then go around and then eventually go through. You can still see those zebras, they coming through there.
And then maybe look and see if we come on the other side.
Yes,
And
we'll
the
make it.
tracks are still there.
Yeah,
In which case we've made a big gain.
yeah,
Or the no-line tracks.
absolutely.
We don't take it somewhere.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Right. I think we're going to get into the drainage line here. So we leave them. So the whole idea of being on foot is to view the animals and leave them undisturbed. And that's exactly what we're doing now. And it's just working perfect for us. So we're going to leave them now happily and let them do what an elephant do. Yeah. Beautiful. See it up there. So try and put your eyes on that animal when it walks through that bush and see how that confuses your eyes and hence dazzling. And I guess maybe that's why we call them a dazzle of zebra. With if they get to know, somehow detect an enemy being within their presence, they'll kind of like start running in between each other. And in a way, it avoids an enemy not being able to detect the weakest link. It could be maybe an animal with a lame foot. It could be maybe the smallest animal in a group because it's just lines that are going like that in between each other. That's beautiful. And so what you will tend to find is for the time of the day, most animals would be a lot more easier than they would usually be by the time that they're supposed to be active. Because, you know, if you've got a good shade over here and something else comes that would want to bother you and get that shade, you wouldn't want to give that shade away easily, would you? You would try and stand your ground for a little bit, and so you tend to find animals doing exactly the same this time of the day. They might be aware that you're there, but they're like, please, maybe you don't see us, we're just going to hang up until the last minute, and then only then move away. So we didn't get to talk about what elephants are doing over there loud enough that everybody could hear, but they're doing what we call geophagia. And geo coming from earth, phagia, digestion. And so for the time of the year, there's little nutritional value within the plants that these animals are eating. And so they need to find ways and different means of supplementing their diet. And so in a rainy season, when it rains, a whole lot of clay from higher lying areas get washed off and get deposited into these lower lying areas. And the soil becomes really very rich. And elephants having a tool to dig with, because that tusk, it's just an amazing tool that they're using, which are, of course, an incisors teeth of an elephant. And so they'll go down and use the weight of their head and drive that tusk into the ground and loosen the sand. And they'll pick it up and start eating it. And that's exactly what they're doing over there. And they'll leave bits and pieces. That's why you could see a kudu waiting at the back. So he's waiting for elephants to eat and be happy. And as the elephants move away, then Kudu will come in and say, yes, thank you, elephant. You know, God bless you. And so zebras are doing the same also. They go in there and going to wait for elephants to get done. Right, anyone for an extra bottle of water? Please don't be shy. We've got more than enough that we're carrying with us.
Yeah, I have another bottle.
Right. It's quite a big animal when you're down on the ground, eh?
Look very carefully. There's a couple of vultures. 6 vultures flying.
Indeed. He'll have enough room to join the rest of the group.
Is that flowing?
Nah, I think he was just yawning. And this is clearly, I would think, possibly different animal. But it might have been that the same pride might have split. Because there we had 2 animals, and I know that within this area we've got a pride of 5 that moves around. And then there's also another pride of 4, besides the old lioness that also hangs around the area. So we've got another set of footprints here, Brian. Yeah. So going exactly the same direction where the elephants were. It could have been maybe that it's possibility would be the same pride maybe that split, and they were maybe calling each other and then would meet somewhere down by the river there, possibly. Another possibility could be a different animal completely.
And then Chukurunsu.
Yeah.
The granite tracks.
Yeah. Beautiful. See the water. Straight through this bush here. You see it? That they also love, and then we'll backtrack. If there's no tracks, it means that, like as you say, they must be still back there somewhere. Yeah. All right. I think what we should do is go a little bit that way, probably just under 100 meters or so. See if we didn't miss the tracks, maybe walking on the hard ground this side and eventually back down onto the river road. If not, then the good chance is that perhaps maybe further back there, so then we'll backtrack and go back that direction. All right, that's interesting. Exactly, exactly. You're right. So if you look at the back of the main path, there's only two lobes. You see that? Right? So the moment we see two lobes, we know that we're not dealing with a cat. So it could either be a hyena family, family Hyenidae, or maybe the dog family, family Canidae. So if you look at the size of that compared to the size of that, huge size difference in the paw prints. Right, so one would think that perhaps maybe it's a small animal with a big animal moving together. Right? So now look at digit number 1 and 4. Look at the inside of the digit. Half moon shape, 100% a hyena. But with the two big hyenas, we've got spotted and we've got brown. There's also an aardwolf, which is in the family. But nevertheless, look at this particular footprint over here where the substrate is loose. Look at the hair. You see the hair markings on the side? That's a brown hyena. So that gives it away because they've got a long coat. So where they're walking, the hair would pretty much brush around the footprint itself or around the paw print. To where we last literally made a loop around away from the river, avoiding the elephants. I don't see anything that is as recent as what we left back there. So there's two possibilities to that. It's either they are still lying down somewhere there because they won't fly, definitely, or we missed their tracks somewhere where they would possibly maybe started moving inland a little bit. But my gut feeling says they must be somewhere along the river here. It's good breeze, good shade, good water, because at some stage they're going to need to drink water when they start moving early evening. So I would suggest that we maybe backtrack and take it easy going back that way and see what happens. Right, anyone for a bottle of water? Please don't be shy about it. We still have 1 or 2 left. 8 somewhere. So I've got a paw print. Yeah, you can see there. This one is moving back that way. A little bit west of us here earlier, that was coming down towards the river. Tusk had been driven into the ground. Look at that. Over there also, over there. You can actually smell the fresh smell of that elephant. So they've obviously left a lot here. And we just saw a warthog right here. There's a little bit of disturbance over here. That looks about the right size over there also. They'll go. Let's move. Keep going, keep going. Amazingly quiet, eh? Very, very quiet. So they wouldn't be able to smell us. But the sun also in our favor. If they look, then they look into the sun. Good cover in front of us. A fairly good safe distance. If one would say, how far do you think the safe distance is? I don't know. It's a distance that if all of us would be comfortable in viewing those animals without feeling threatened, and most importantly, without disturbing the animals. So in other words, allowing the animals to do what they were doing. And for me, that would be a safe distance. So it's not a fixed number. It can change based on conditions within the area. Trees. And there's quite a fair amount over here also. Look at that. It's a lot more drier. But if you look at the consistency, it's pretty much the same. So I like to do a little bit of poology, and I find poology really very interesting, being the study of the poo, analyzing and see what it is that an animal ate and left over there for us. And look at what we're getting inside. Piece of a stick. You see that, but look at how it's been cleanly cut, like really very, it looks like somebody had something sharp, like a sharp object, maybe 3 cutters, and started pruning. And if we keep on looking, look at a bit of fiber from the back, and then there's a piece of a leaf. Piece of a leaf from the tree. Now we know that whoever ate this only ate from the trees. And the big animal that would be eating from the trees without eating grass, of course, would be a black rhino. This is a way where these animals would go to defecate. Very interesting. You can get bits and pieces that are completely different sizes. And look at how it meshes. Look at that. Just fits perfectly. It probably came from 2 different trees. Anyhow, so I remember one of the days I went home happy because I had learned about the midden through the course, which I'm still studying, by the way. It just never stops. And I got back home and I was excited to share the story of a midden on how these animals get to mark, communicating, notice board that they live in right over here. And I told my grandfather about that, and he looked at me and went like, "Bull boy, let me tell you why they're doing that." And I'm like, oh, yes, of course. And he said, once upon a time, elephant and rhino were really good buddies and like really fantastic friends, and they would do everything together. You know, as you know, elephant, they've got good height to them, you know, they always walk. Once upon a time, it was really very dry. And somewhere over July. And so there was very minimum surface water available. And elephant went looking for his friend, Rhino. And of course, Rhino went like, I think that's my friend. And Rhino said, usually go like, he started looking. And of course, he found his friend. And elephant went like, anyways, let's go look for the water. And off they went to the water hole. And as they were approaching the water hole, as we're looking down into Tutwa Dam right over here, elephant noticed that there's a problem because he's got good height. And he said to the rhino, ooh. The rhino went like, excuse me, elephant. And elephant said, listen, mates, I think I will drink first. When I'm done, then you can have your 10. And rhino couldn't believe his ears because they always shared. So he started moving back because he wanted to see the face of the elephant. Why? His good friend, the best friend ever would say something like that. Oh, you asking for a fight. You're backing away from me. And elephant shook his head a little bit for the second time. And Rhino moved back because he wants to know, why are you starting to yell at me? He started moving back. And they started eyeing each other. And I tell you, all of a sudden, they went like, wah! Towards each other. And of course, guess what happened? Elephant with a good height and the good weight that he had, he just went like, wah! Down onto the rhino, smacked the rhino right down onto the ground, and of course, walked away like happy days, like, yeah, I got you. And of course, he went to drink the rest of the water and left his friend down on the ground and bleeding right over there. And of course, Rhino just bled so much, he passed out. And the sun was just about to touch the ground. And then, of course, Porcupine came looking for the water. They've got a lot of quills, and they use those quills to protect themselves from predators. And Porcupine came, and they walk exactly like a rhino, head down. Porcupine could smell a little bit of blood. And he's like, this is not good. Something is going on right over here. He went, and of course, he didn't see the rhino, and bumped onto the rhino, erected his quills, and Rhino felt pins and needles onto his skin. Like, who is that? And Porcupine went like, hey, I'm the Porcupine. Because he doesn't want to say it loud, there could be lions sitting by the water. I'm the Porcupine. And Rhino said, please, man, can you help me? Porcupine went like, excuse me? What can I do for you? You're so big, Rhino. And Rhino said, please, man, can I borrow one of your quills? And I promise I will give it back to you as you gave it to me. And Porcupine thought, I don't know about this, Rhino. I honestly don't know. But anyhow, so he pulled one of his quills out and, whoop, and gave it to the Rhino. But Rhino was exhausted, mind you. So he started sewing the first wound of the main tusk of the elephant. And he got done with that, and he was feeling a lot more better. And of course, he came back to the camera. Now I need to sew the other wound, but I'm just so exhausted. So he thought, okay, how do I keep this quill safe? And he said, maybe I put it in my pocket. And he went like this. Now, but rhinos, we don't wear trousers. And he thought, okay, did I put it in my ear? And he thought, no, that might hurt, definitely. It might pop my eardrum. He thought, right, if I put it in my mouth, then in the morning I'll just pull it out. And he thought, okay, so if I swallow it, what happens? And he thought, that's actually the best place ever where I can keep it safe without it being damaged. And he put the quill into his mouth and left just a tiny little piece coming out that in the morning you can just pull it out. And Porcupine, of course, then left. And a troop of baboons came walking past the water hole, came to him and meet him like this. And started scratching, and they're looking for termites, picking up a little bit of termites, and they could smell blood. And baboons can actually chase a leopard off the kill if you get big males and take that meat and eat it. Smelling blood, they thought, yeah. And of course, they started moving closer and closer, and they saw a rhino there lying down. They thought, hey, okay. So the dominant male of the troop went closer and closer to the rhino, and And he saw this thing coming out the mouth of the rhino. And he thought, yes, yes, it must be the biggest worm ever. And of course, he went stalking the rhino and said to the rest of the troop, you stop, you wait there, I'll come in. So he went and stopped, and he went and he pulled the quill out. And, wow! Wow! I'm sorry. And the rest of the troop just literally disappeared. And he ran with the quill and of course went up the tree. He started chewing on this thing, but it was just too hard to eat, not really palatable. And he said, what a waste of energy. And he threw it away. And of course, the rhino then slept through the night. In the morning, he woke up and he felt a lot more better. And now rhinos are full of energy. So he got up and he everything then started kind of like falling back into place. He remembered his friend, elephant. He remembered the fire. I'm gonna smack that elephant, I'm telling you. And then, of course, he remembered the quill. And he was like, whoo! I borrowed the quill. And so he checked on his back and he thought, no, I wouldn't put it there because it would hurt. He thought, my ear? No, I wouldn't put it there because it would pop my ear down. I think, okay, maybe my pockets. But no, rhinos, we don't wear trousers. And he thought, ooh, I actually put it into my mouth. So it must be somewhere there. So he went looking inside his mouth and of course putting his whole foot into the mouth and the quill was not there to be found. And today, when rhinos go to the toilet, it's exactly what they do. They stand like that, leave 2 or 3 droppings. That's exactly what you'll do. So like, where's the quill? Where's the quill?
Oh, what a story. What a story.
So this over here, these are the seed pods from a tree species called blackthorn. We used to call it Acacia mellifera, and now with the new name, so the genera has been changed. Now they're not acacias anymore. So this particular species, the genera, it's called Synagelia mellifera. So mellifera referring to black honey, because the blooms do smell like black honey. It's quite amazing. Actually, about 3 or 4 weeks back, when the tree was blooming, if you had to drive around, you would think that there is a beehive somewhere close by because of the flowers. But these seed pods, you would find now giraffes, impalas, and impala would literally walk up the tree like goats usually would do, and they would put their front hoof up to try and elevate themselves, and of course start eating these seed pods. So a thorn tree is a leguminous plant, and there's legumes down in the roots. And so these pods are literally jam-packed with protein, and that animal will eat this, of course. And that protein, as they digest within their stomach, would then be broken down into amino acids. So it's a good way of supplementing for the time of the year. We can also eat this. It's not really that nice, but we can eat it. Cattle growls for either cows or goats. This is the main species of a thorn bush that we use. So we would cut a fair amount of branches from here, from this tree, and then you literally pull it moving towards you, and then you make that circle around. And you probably try and get it as high as my height, and then that way nothing will go through. Your animals are not able to go through it, and so does the predators. So that keeps your animals safe, including us if we're stranded out here. If you can't make fire for some reason, and you're not able to maybe climb a tree, nice spot like that, get a few of these that are broken by elephants, put them and stack them together there, and then the last one you literally walk in with it, and you've got good cover around you. And then I'll pee around my territory, and then I'm good for the night. So a plant or a tree will absorb water and mineral salts out the ground, and a whole lot of that will then be transported within the core of the tree or the xylem tissues, and that nutrition will then be distributed up in the canopy within the leaves and get converted into carbohydrates during photosynthesis. But then in return, the leaves needs to send food down to the roots so that the roots can grow and keep on working. And so that food will come through the inside of a bark of a tree or the phloem tissues or the cambium. So if you think of a lymphatic system, pretty much similar. And an elephant with a tusk, they will come and push their tusk into the trunk of a tree, loosen that bark, and they will peel it off and start chewing on it and swallowing it. And it's more like us eating sugar cane. That's exactly what they're doing. But yeah, if they ring back the whole tree, obviously the tree will die because the cardiovascular system is gone. Yeah.
At least the seed heaters are on.
All right, all set? Perfect. Ke ona tuelo e.